Today, we're going to talk about how to win with Google Local Services. Google Local Service Ads is really, to me, an essential part of marketing your digital marketing company. And I don't want to, maybe I go a little far by saying marketing. It's a lead generation service by Google. But man, it is one of those things that you need to be signed up for, need to be involved in currently with your roofing business. So let's just get this back up. So as always, on these workshops, I just realized we've been doing these workshops for 2.5 years now. So this is an awesome thing. I love getting together with you guys and doing this and helping you improve your businesses. But please either turn off your cell phones or put them on do not disturb. Turn off Facebook. If you're a roofing business owner, and you're serious about improving the results in your business, the next 45, 60 minutes will be very impactful for you, hopefully. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about what Google Local Service Ads are, if you're not familiar with them, where they're active, how it works, how you can jump on board if you haven't already. We're going to talk about what it takes to rank in the top 3 results to get the best results, the best lead flow from this, and how you can take advantage of the higher quality, lower cost per lead leads that the Local Service Ads program offers. So who am I? My name is Jim Aline. Why you should listen to me. I am the co-founder of Roofer Marketers. I am the co-author of 2 books, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer, the Omnipresent Marketing Framework for Roofing Contractors. I speak at a lot of industry conferences. In a week from now, I'll be speaking down at RoofCon. Just spoke at the IRE and Win the Storm this year. We are a certified Google partner. I'm the host of the Roofing Success Podcast. We're members of the NRCA. This is what we do all day, every day. We help roofing business owners with their digital marketing. So glad to have everyone on today. We focus on 3 core principles around in digital marketing in our omnipresence marketing system. And this is what these webinars are designed around, are these 3 core principles. So the first principle is to maximize the opportunity to generate a phone call, a lead for your business through digital marketing efforts. That includes Google Local Service Ads, Google pay-per-click advertising, SEO, your Google My Business listing optimization, social media advertising. All of those types of things are opportunities. So that's what we focus on first. And then we focus on maximizing your brand impression, because the best known roofer is the one that gets the phone call, right? If you're the best known in your area or to your perfect customer, you're the one that gets the call. And then 3, we focus on maximizing conversion rates on all of the platforms. And that's what this webinar series goes through. Is some of them are around maximizing conversions, some around brand impressions. But today we're going to talk about what Google Local Service Ads are. So what are Google Local Service Ads? So Google Local Service Ads are the 3 ads that show up in a horizontal fashion at the top of the page when someone types in something like roofers near me, roofing contractors, roofing companies, local roofing companies. Those are search terms with commercial intent. So Google understands that when people are typing this in, they're looking to make a phone call. So these are ads that Google is placing at the top of their page in relation to that. It's also known sometimes as Google Guaranteed, because to get into the program, you have to go through an application process, do a background check, submit some licensing information, some insurance information, because they're verifying that you're a real contractor. And then Google does this, and in these, Google is tracking all of these, right? So Google's tracking number is in here in this section also. So everything is going through Google's kind of lead portal. On the back of that lead portal is where you set up your profile, and your profile can have, has your business name, it has your reviews, your local area. It has your bio, if you're Better Business Bureau rated, BBB rated, if you provide financing, your years in business, if you're GAF Master Elite or Owens Corning Preferred Contractor, you can put that stuff in there. You have to pass your background check and do all of that type of stuff. And it's really Google's pay per lead system. And why it's important is that this is a statistic that was done it was an article in Roofing Contractor magazine in 2015. So it's a little dated, right? We're 6 years later. So 6 years ago, 87% of consumers search Google when looking for a home service provider. That was the data that they were looking for back then, right? The way that I like to describe it is when someone is looking for a roofing contractor, the first place that they look is their mental Rolodex, right? If they know someone that they already know, like, and trust, they're going to make a phone call to that person. But most people don't, right? You really don't put a roof on very often, right? It's not something that happens, very often, in your life. And so a lot of times we don't know what roofing contractor to call. So if we don't know someone, then we're going to ask a friend or family member for a referral, or we're going to go to Google. And so this is the number one place that your customers are looking when they need your services. Local service ads come up at the top of the page. They're the first thing that these homeowners and property owners see when they are searching for a roofing company. And so they come up first also in mobile, right? And there's no higher intent than a prospect who is actively searching for a roofing company to call. And Google only shows these ads when they have, based on their, on their data of when people are looking for companies to call. But you do have to have a plan to win in this. There are some nuances that we'll go through today to make sure that you find the most amount of success in this efforts. So let's first talk about how it impacts the search results. So when someone types in, say, Roofing Contractors Philadelphia, the 3 local service ads come up at the top of the page. Then below that, you'll see the Google ads or Google search ads specifically. 1 to 3 ads in that position. Then you'll see the map with 3 to 4 companies listed in the map section. If there's a 4th, it's because there's an ad running there. And then below that are the websites that Google feels most relevant to that search query. That's where you're going to find your Home Advisors, your Angie's List, Yelp, Better Business Bureau. Roofingcontractor.com is showing up in a bunch of stuff. Owens Corning shows up there. GAF shows up there. All mixed in with a few local contractors. So on this page, there was a study done by a company called Bright Local, and they tracked the traffic on this page and where people clicked, and they came up with that 14% of people click on those Google local service ads when they're present. About 11% of people click on the Google pay-per-click section. So really, Google is taking about 25% of the traffic to their paid services. Then the map section gets about 35% of the traffic, and the websites that below that get about 40% of the traffic. And that top spot, that number one spot that's taken up too many times by Home Advisor, gets about 50% of that. So about 20% of the total traffic on the page gets to that top spot. And I say that to help you understand that it's important to be in as many of these places as possible, to cast that net, to make sure that you're creating the opportunity to make your phone ring. So how they work, how Google Local Services ads work. First, you must complete the Google Local Services application. Google will run a background check, a license check. They'll check your insurance information. And once you're approved, you become active in your area, and then you pay on a per lead basis. We see through our clients around a $30 to $60 average lead cost. That cost per lead is going to change over time. It's probably never going to get cheaper because it's Google. And the prices will vary by city, service type. You could select for gutter leads. You could select for different things in there, and it will vary by that. So in the requirements, the first thing that happens is you have to be eligible, that your business is in a category that offers Google Local Service ads. So roofing is one of those categories. The second thing that happens is that there is a background check that's done on the owners. Then you have to submit your general liability insurance, your licensing requirements, and then you select the type of categories that you want to show up in, right? So you have your install, your repair work, your gutters, venting, things like that, all of your services. And so then you get charged by Google on a per lead basis. So the first thing that you do when you get set up in Google Local Service ads, one of the first things, you'll create your profile first and add your images and your company description and things like that. Then you're going to add your budget. So if you had, for example, a $2,000 a month budget, you are going to structure it out into a weekly budget. Google Local Service ads asks for a weekly budget. So that would be $500 per week. So if you had an average cost per lead of $50 a day, that would get you about 40 leads per month, 10 leads per week, 2 per day, and once the budget is spent, you go offline. That's in theory how it works. But you may get a different number of leads from day to day, and you really may never, you'll never really spend over your designated weekly budget. We really find that it's very difficult to spend an entire budget, your entire weekly budget. Most of our clients, if they have a $500 a week budget, they may only spend $200-$300. There's the disadvantage of Google Local Service ads is the volume isn't there, and that's because of the competition, and we'll talk to that in a little bit. But one of the other nice things that you have is the ability to immediately dispute these leads, right? So when a lead comes in, if it's a crew looking for work, you just hit dispute, and Google, because this goes through Google has a dashboard for this. They're recording all the calls, everything is tracked. You just hit dispute and they'll give it back. Or, for example, if someone is looking for a service that you don't provide, or in a service area that you don't service, if, you can dispute that lead, and they're really easy to deal with, especially in relation to a lot of other lead aggregators. Most lead aggregators are it's very challenging to dispute a lead, right? And so Google has made it a lot easier, and they're much more open to that dispute process. So you can dispute leads through if it is a solicitation, right? If it's someone trying to call you to sell you something, if it was spam, the location that you have wasn't served, or the service was not offered. So with the location not served, you'll have to the customer on the phone has to communicate the location, and the location has to be not listed on your profile, right? So if you had selected, Minneapolis as an area that you serve, and then someone calls and says, "Hey, yeah, I'm in Minneapolis," and you're like, "Yeah, we don't serve that that area. We don't go to the northern part of town where, you would still be charged for that. But so you have to make sure that you haven't selected that area as your service area. And then as a service, if the service was not offered, right? So, if they're looking to buy shingles, right, or something like that, right? You don't sell shingles. So the feedback that we get from our current clients on this, and we work with around 50 roofing contractors on their digital marketing, is that it's a much lower lead cost per in relation to pay-per-click advertising, much lower. $30 to $60 for a lead versus in pay-per-click, in a small, less competitive market, you may be in the $100 per lead range. In some of the more competitive markets, you may be in the $300 range. So a much better lead cost. It's a much higher quality lead than some of the lead aggregators like HomeAdvisor or Thumbtack and things like that. You will still get some price shoppers, right? We get this feedback that there are still some people that are price shopping, but that's kind of what you get, right? That's part of being out there on the internet. But the most important thing feedback that we get from our users is that there is a really solid return on investment on these leads. So why this is a no-brainer for you, why you should really just get set up if you haven't already, is that it immediately gets you to the top of the page for when people are looking for your services, right? You only pay on a pay-per-lead basis, right? So you have the risk in it is very low. Google's very easy to deal with on that dispute basis, as I mentioned. There's a much lower cost per lead than pay-per-click. It's very quick in relation to getting showing up on Google. As I mentioned, if you start working on SEO, that takes time, right? It takes time to get ranked in the map section. It takes time to get your website ranking. This is, submit your information. Once your application gets processed, set a budget, and now you show up on the front page of Google. So it's an amazing thing. Higher quality leads than the lead aggregators, right? And the ability to modify your budget based on your schedule, increase it, decrease it as needed. I really believe that paid advertising, right? Google local service ads, buying leads from lead aggregators, Google pay-per-click advertising, Facebook ads, all of those things is kind of to fill that gap between the leads that you're currently getting for your company and the leads that you need to hit your revenue goals, right? And so the bigger that gap, the higher that budget needs to be. But you really have the ability here to modify that, right? When you start getting booked out and you have enough work coming in, you can just lower those budgets, right? So it's really nice in that manner. So the next thing we'll talk about is how to get set up. Actually, while we're doing this, how many of you, we got about 15 people on right now live, drop a 1 in the chat if you are running Google local service ads. Drop a 2 in the chat if you have not been set up in Google local service ads yet. Give me a little audience participation instead of me just speaking to myself over here. All right. So Lauren's 1. All right. We got a couple of 1s, couple of 2s. So some of you are using it. So for the ones that got that got set up in that have been set up in Google local service ads, how was that process? Was it pretty easy for you, Jeff, Kelly? You can unmute if you want. Just hit unmute and Jen, process was a pain, but worth it. Yeah, it can be, right? Like, how long did it take you to get set up, Jen? You can unmute if you want, or you could type in chat. Either way is easy for us. We got this opened up as a It looks like you are unmuted, but I can't hear you. But sometimes it takes, we found like 30, 3 weeks to 6 weeks. We've seen it as getting set up. So sometimes there is a pain. So Jen said she initially did it when it first came out, and no one knew to tell me where to get in, how to apply for it, or any of that stuff. So good thing you got in on the beginning, though. We'll talk about it a little bit, but over time, there's so then it took a few weeks. Yeah. So it depends. When COVID hit and Google sent all their employees home, we noticed an increased timeline on it. It seems to be not as bad right now. We're 3-4 weeks and you could get set up in the program. But for those of you that haven't gotten set up, right, let's talk about how to get set up. So if you work with roofer marketers, if you're a client of ours, if we have any clients on the call and you haven't been set up already, you probably have. But if you work with us, our account managers are trained on walking you through the process step by step and getting you set up. If you're not, Nikki, if you could drop this in the chat for people, but you could go to Google and Google local service ads. That's one of the things that you could do, or you could go directly to this link, ads.google.com/local-services-ads, and that will take you to their sign up page. On that sign up page, you're going to start the process and create your profile. So they're going to check your eligibility, estimate your ad spend, things like that. You'll have to connect this to your Google My Business listing. So if you don't have a Google My Business listing, that would be step one. And we have past webinars on doing that, getting your Google My Business listing optimized and up and running. You can go to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in Roofer Marketers. Go to the training videos playlist, and there'll be a couple of them in there on Google My Business listings if you need help with that. But you just go through the process and get set up. Once you're set up, this is where it's important. And this is probably why Jen is on here and some other people who are already set up in Google Local Service Ads. Sometimes you think, oh, Marin's on here too and works with Jen. How you doing, Marin? So there's Google Local Service Ads can be frustrating because the lead flow sometimes is very low. And it's very difficult, or not very difficult, but you have to be doing the right things to give Google the right signals that get you the highest impression share. So when you guys signed up with this, Jen, a while ago, when was that you guys got signed up, Jen and Marin? How long ago was that in your area, and what market are you in? So as they're typing that in, when Google Local Services Ads first started showing up, the first place that we saw them was in the Dallas Fort Worth area in about fall of 2018. And then in 2019, they started rolling them out across the country into some of the larger markets. And now they're rolled out all across the United States. If you don't see them in your area, sign up for Google Local Service Ads today, and you will be the only one verified and Google guaranteed in your area. And that will be a great thing. But so when this program first rolled out, there were very few people set up in the service, right? In the process. So they didn't have a lot of contractors to rotate through those 3 ads. But now, man, in some markets, there's hundreds of contractors. If you go to a major metropolitan area, Minneapolis, Dallas, Denver, any major metropolitan area, there's going to be a ton of contractors set up in this program. So what we have to figure out, and what we have to make sure that we're doing, are the things that Google wants us to do to show up in those spots more efficiently. Marin had commented, if Google rotates and is seen more is because they are paying more. So that's a new feature or a newer feature to Google local service ads is they have a bidding mode, right? So there's a few different things going on here. But what we see, even if you're not trying to outbid, right? And this is going to happen over time. Google is going to continue to press their bidding process and the lead cost is going to go up. So while the leads are still inexpensive in relation to a roofing lead, get in there and get in this program. But now how Google is looking at who to show in those top 3 spots, the first thing is the proximity to the customer's location. It's tied into your Google My Business listing, and they know the address of your company through your application process. So that is one of the things that is a factor, right? Who is closest? Your review score and number of reviews. So having a great reputation online will help you to get shown more. Your reviews from your Google My Business listing will be pulled into your Google local service ads. And we'll talk about a different way to ask for reviews through Google local service ads a little bit later, which is to get verified reviews. Your responsiveness to customer inquiries and requests. When our account managers are talking to our clients, and when they hear this all the time, well, my leads are down this month. My local service ads leads are down this month. So our account manager goes in and they're like, hey, let me go check on that for you. So they go log into their account and they look, and like the last 3 or 5, phone calls were unanswered. Like, that's why, right? If you don't answer your phone, it doesn't provide a good user experience to the searcher. So Google it's a negative impact on you. Well, it shows up as on top as a 4.8 rating, 4.9. So ratings don't always matter. No, it's just one factor. So ratings are only one factor, but the verified reviews are also a factor. So we'll talk about that. And that was from Marin chiming in. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a 4.3 or a 4.6 or 4.9, but the amount of reviews and the better reviews you have, but more importantly, the reviews that you get through the local service ads dashboard, and we'll show you that. So your business hours. So making sure that you're answering your phone within your business hours. Whether or not you've received, one of the things, of course, is if you receive a serious complaint. Google Guaranteed means that Google guarantees your work to the person who filled out who called you through that ad. And so they'll provide up to $2,000 kind of as an insurance policy to that homeowner if something goes wrong. So they want to make sure that you're not getting serious complaints, right? In addition to those, Google will attempt to spread the leads out. So in the way that you determine your budgets and set your budgets is they're going to look at that budget and try to spread those leads throughout the month. That doesn't always work perfectly, right? Because let's say a storm comes through, right? During that time, more people are searching, more people are, clicking on it, calling the ads. So you get more leads right away, but then Google will pull back on your leads because of your budget, right? And it'll try to spread those leads into a future time in the month. But hey, the storm has passed, more people have called already, so it doesn't work as well in that regard. So you have to be prepared for stuff like that. So that's this is kind of the basis of how you win with Google local service ads. So what I want to do at this point, I want to see if anyone has any questions at this point or comments, and then as we go through and go into a little bit more detail about how to optimize and maximize your lead flow, we can do that. But I think having some questions and knowing where you guys are at with this is a good place to be right now. So for Maren and Jen, you guys have this going on. What brought you to the webinar today? Is your lead flow from Google Local Service Ads low? What made you jump on today since you're already in the program? For those of you that are looking to that haven't gotten set up yet, how is it? First, I guess, what has stopped you? What has prevented you? And what are you looking for today that I can help you with? So Greg, all right, we got a couple here. So Garrison applied for Google Local Service Ads, but the underwriting process is taking forever. Yeah, man. What's the ETA time? How long ago did you submit that, Garrison? We're seeing between 3 and 6 weeks to get approved right now. How long is that? 3-4 weeks ago. So yeah, I would expect that you'll be seeing that soon. Make sure that you go in and double check that you've uploaded all of your paperwork correctly. But that's probably, it takes a little bit of time to get set up. So, all right. No problem, man. Maren said, Google is our favorite lead gen. We focus heavily on Google. So Google is a wide word now, right? I mean, there's a lot to do on Google. So, you have your Google Guaranteed, you have your Google pay-per-click advertising, your Google Maps listing, which is your Google My Business listing. You have your Google SEO, right? Your website. We also do Google Guaranteed tracking for calls. We simply are here to truly maximize maybe areas that we're missing out. Yeah, cool. Well, I'll help you with that. Renessa, regarding business hours, should they be set to only when someone is available to answer the phone? Yes. So set your business hours to only when someone is able to answer the phone. If you have it set to 24 hours and you get that after hours call and it doesn't get answered, it's a negative. It has a negative impact on your Google Local Service Ads. So if you do want to do 24 hours, make sure maybe set up an answering service or something like that it gets forwarded to during your off business hours so that phone call gets answered. So Galaxy A20, so I don't know your name, but that's probably the phone that you're on. So don't really have a set budget. Wanted to learn more about the minimum and maximum cost and what they get from that. And Kelly said, I jumped on to learn more and try to get my boss's business out there more. And it's tricky with oh yeah, I know. I remember you, Kelly. How are you? Yeah. Yep. Working with an Amish roofing contractor. So it's challenging in the technology side of things. Yeah. Challenging in the technology side of things. So for whoever, Galaxy A20, I'll call you. Yeah. Budgeting is it. So what I would do, in my personal opinion, is I would set my budget as high as I possibly, something kind of outrageous, right? Because you can always turn it down or off, right? So, and if a lead comes in and the quality of these leads are usually pretty solid. So if you're getting good leads, until you get to the point where you're too busy to handle them, that's when you'll turn your budget down. So the way that we structure it is maximize your weekly budget, maybe set a budget of, $2,000 a week, $1,000 a week. It may sound outrageous, but you're not going to spend that much money. And if you start to get towards that and you're getting busy and it's too much to handle, just pop in and turn it down, right? Very simple in that regard in managing that. We also set our bid price to the highest amount just to show Google that we're willing to pay for that lead. But the leads are still, even if we're setting the budget, the bid at $99, they're still coming in at $30 to $60 in most markets. So we're finding that. And if anyone has a different experience, I'd love to hear your experience too. Lauren said we have no leads from it at the moment. Believe due to a low budget, just set a higher budget. So we'll see how that goes. We're not located in the, we are located in the Twin Cities area. So there is a lot of competition for sure. Lots of competition. We're also in Minneapolis. So welcome, Lauren. Thanks for jumping on. Galaxy A20 said, we're also leaving residential and staying with commercial. Will this still work? So in Google Local Service Ads, you cannot differentiate between commercial and residential, but your local service ads will show up when someone types in commercial roofing contractors, commercial roofing roofers, things like that. So you will have to either accept that you're going to get residential leads on top of some commercial leads. The commercial lead volume through this is going to be low, extremely low, but it is a place where you can, the ads do show up when people type in commercial roofing. So you can generate leads from here, but you cannot create a dividing wall. You can't say, I only want commercial leads. So that is a challenge. When using this, Jeff, so hopefully that helps you, Galaxy. You could type your name in chat if you want, so I could call you by your name instead of by your phone if you want. But Jeff R. said, when using this, do you have to set the demographic settings, i.e. income, age, etc.? No, there are no demographic options, only location-based options. And we'll go through that. Right. Thanks for your participation. We'll continue to move on here. I think this will help you guys in getting this, and we'll as we go through this, I'll try to reference what you guys are doing. So Kelly said, hope so, commercial as well, no residential. So it really is not the best place for commercial. It isn't. It's challenging on the commercial side because you will get leads for both, and the majority of the leads you get through this process will be for residential. Commercial leads are few and far between, probably on Google Local Service Ads. If I was a 100% commercial roofing focused company, I don't know if I would do this. If I have a residential division that can handle the residential side, and then when the commercial lead comes in through that, I think that's a good thing. But there may be a day that Google will continue to add categories and separate things, in more detail, but as of right now, they don't. So the first thing that we need to do with Google Local Service Ads is dial in your service area, your profile, and your budget. Your service area is extremely important. Like I said, Google is looking at the proximity of where you're searching from, of where people are searching from. So, if you're in the Twin Cities area here and you select, Los Angeles, California as a service area, it might not be a great advantage to you unless you have an office in LA with a Google My Business listing there that you can tie it to and show that you're local to that area too. Like I said, with your budget, we like to max the budget out. Put something uncomfortable to you in that budget. Make sure that you monitor it, right? But if the leads come in and the leads are good, you're going to get work from it, right? So you want to, max that budget out. There will be a point of saturation, right? There'll be a point where you're just not going to get many more leads. And that's just based on search volume in your area. The next thing that people miss out on, right? So the first thing that happens with Google Local Service Ads so Google's overall goal is to give the searcher the best user experience possible, right? So when someone clicks on a Google Local Service Ads and they make a phone call or they submit a message, if the phone call is not answered or the message is just left sitting there, no one responds to it, is that what Google would want you to do, right? Does that provide the searcher with a good user experience? I know it seems simple, but that is the first thing, is answering the phone. The next thing you're doing is marking your jobs as booked, dealing with disputes. Make sure you're disputing your leads, driving verified reviews. So this is what we were talking about earlier. You may have a great reputation on your Google My Business listing, but building on top of that with verified reviews. And you want to target an 85% booking rate. And we'll show you how to do that here. So the first thing is dialing in your profile, right? Making sure that your business name is proper, your business bio, all of your information is correct in there. The jobs that you provide. So setting your budget, open up if you have capacity, update your ads schedule. So setting those hours, your business bio, your job types, your service area, your business hours, add photos, right? People will be able to go in and see photos that you've uploaded into here. So show your work, show your crews, your salespeople, the wrap trucks, if you have equipters up or catch-alls or, all the cool stuff that you can do, put real cool photos in there that can help someone choose you as the preferred provider. So now, as you can see on the screen here, this is what Google Local Service Ads dashboard looks like. So when you go into a lead, it'll show the call recording if you answered the call or not, right? There'll be a call recording or a message there. You can add the customer name, the customer email. You can add your notes. And you can mark it as booked, right? So if you set a home visit with this lead, you mark it as booked. If it is not a qualified lead, you're not going to set a home visit, right? So you're going to mark it as disputed, and that's in the three dots there. So by marking your job as booked, Google will rate your responsiveness, how well you've completed your job. So if they've been marked booked or scheduled, add the customer details, add the email address, archive non-converted opportunities. So now you have them in booked. Every job that you complete, you move to completed. Every job that you don't get, every lead that doesn't come through, you move it to archive. So now you're showing Google that you're participating in that user experience. You answered your phone, you put in their information, you moved it on to booked, you moved it on to completed or archived, you disputed it if it wasn't a good lead. You're giving feedback to Google. Everything that you're doing in this dashboard is being monitored by Google's algorithms and is affecting the number of impressions that you are getting in Google's in those three spots in the Google Local Service Ads. Deal with disputes, right? If it's outside of your area, like we said, or a service that you don't provide, or if it's a solicitation, hit the dispute button, right? As soon as possible, hit that dispute button. Make sure that your dashboard is clean, is maybe a good way to put it. Make sure that you have a clean dashboard, that everything is dispositioned properly. The fourth thing that you want to do is drive verified reviews. So once you have completed a job for a customer, you'll go into that profile and there's a button that says ask for reviews, send a review request. So you send a review request through that system, right? You may use Pulsem, you may use Birdeye, you may use Podium, you may have another reputation management software that you use. But for these Google Local Service Ads, ask for a review. If the lead came in through here, ask for a review through here, because that is another indication to Google, right? If you're always getting 5-star reviews through this portal, now you're showing Google, again, you're giving them the indication that you are doing well with their customers. You're providing that great customer experience. Kind of went through this, provide great customer service, leveraging the dashboard, verified reviews, enter the name, enter the email, request the review through there. You'll see in the review section, that it shows up as a Google verified job, right? So if Google is notating that, then they're telling you that, hey, this is the right thing to do, right? So sometimes you'll find companies in your area, they'll have 55 reviews on their Google local service ads listing. But if you go down to their maps listing, they have 45 reviews. That's because 10 of those reviews are verified reviews through Google local service ad system. So what is a disadvantage of using that system is it doesn't go to your normal Google My Business listing. They kind of keep them up in those verified reviews in the local service ad system, but it provides Google with an indication that you're doing a good job for the customers. You want to make sure that you target an 85% or higher booking rate. So you can see here in your dashboard, you'll see the leads that you have, your budget that was spent, and your appointment booked from leads charged. And in this area, you want to keep it above an 85%. If you are leaving bad leads in your without disputing them, right, that's going to hurt that percentage, right? So Google feels that you should be able to set a home visit, to set an appointment with 85% of these people. So you want to be marking them as booked. And if you're not marking them as booked, if you're leaving them in the new lead area, you're not telling Google that you're booking them, right? So you're missing out on that additional indicator that you are doing the right thing. Once you open up your budget, if you're doing all of the other things, right, then opening up your budget matters. If you're not doing the right things, if you're not interacting and dispositioning your leads properly in this dashboard, it doesn't matter what budget you set. You can bid up to the max amount and you could put $10,000 a week in budget and you're still not going to get a lead, right? Your phone will still not ring through Google local service ads because you're not telling Google, you're not showing Google that you're actively participating in providing a great user experience to the people coming in through that section. So once you have all these things dialed in, right, then you open up your budget, right? You're not going to get a qualified lower cost lead anywhere, most likely, right? In a paid advertising perspective. Then once you're there, you can expand. Once you're doing the right things, and if you want to generate more leads, expand your service area as much as you can. Expand your job types, expand your ad schedule, as someone mentioned, doing the 24-hour answering service, right? If you have someone that can answer calls off hours, open that up even more once you're doing the right thing in the dashboard. Once you're making sure every phone call is answered, every message is responded to, and that they're being dispositioned properly, that your booking rate is above that 85%. Once you have that down, now start to play with other things. Opening up these other things. Get your verified reviews on there. So, like I said, if you're a client of ours, our account manager, your account manager will help you get this set up. If you're not, go to ads.google local service or ads.google.com/local-service-ads. Nikki dropped it in the chat. Complete their background checks, put the tracking in place, gauge your ROI, make sure you're leveraging the platform, play the game while the ROI makes sense. I have been running Google Ads for many, many years now, decades now. And, there was a time where a click cost a penny. And then there was a time when it was like $10. And then, in roofing now, we're talking about 50, 80, in some markets, $100 just for a click on Google in Google Ads, not Google local service ads, but Google Ads. And in knowing that, in having that knowledge of what happened in the past, I will guarantee you that these leads will not become cheaper in the future, right? So play the game while the ROI makes sense. Any questions? Let's drop them in chat. Let's have a conversation about it again. Hopefully I hit on some of the things that will help you, tighten up your process and get more effective with your Google local service ads. I just asked one above, Marin. I have a question. Google verified. All right, let's see Marin's question. Let me scroll up real quick. Sorry, I missed that. If you could type it in again, or just unmute and ask, I'd be happy to help you with that. All right, Google verified that I may miss the answer on. Sorry about that. If you could type that in again, I missed it there and I don't see it. So you don't have any verified reviews and your competitors don't, right? So think of this as an advantage. If your competitors aren't doing this, right, you're going to get a better impression share if you start getting some of those Google verified reviews. And you don't have to get all of them to be Google verified reviews, but if you have some in there, like it is a signal to Google. They are monitoring this, right? This is part of their process. How do we do this? Let me see if I can, I'll try and open up a screen here. Give me a second. I'll have to do this off screen. I'll show you guys how to do that. Could you dispute a price shopper? Jeff asks. No, right? There's a difference, Jeff, between a lead and a deal, right? And I would also argue that there's a difference between a lead, a prospect, and a deal, right? These aren't guaranteed jobs, right? There's nothing that guarantees a job out of this. You still have to sell it. Sorry if I sound a little harsh in that, but a lead is someone who, the way that I kind of would classify a lead, is someone looking for a service that you provide in your service area, right? A qualified lead or a prospect is someone that you have had a conversation with that you know that they have storm damage, right? And they need a new roof, right? They have a leak, they need a new roof. If they are someone looking for a metal roofing company and you only do asphalt shingle, that's not a qualified lead, right? Something like that. Let me try and find let me go into one of these budgets here. So yeah, you can't dispute a price shopper. People price shop, right? But if you can sell your value to that customer, you'll still close on these. How do we get a Google to verify? How do we do this? I'll get to that, Marin. Should I turn on the settings to allow customers to contact you by message? Yeah, I think it gives you another opportunity, right? And I think you have to download the Google. There's an app that you download on your phone to be able to respond to those messages. So yeah, you have to ask for the review in Google Local Service Ads, and I'm pulling that up so I can give you guys an example of that. Let me, so when you go into completed, you have a job here. Can everyone see this? Should be able to see it, I think, yeah.
Yes.
So you'll have your customer name, notes, things like that, and you'll hit edit. And then there's a thing here that says ask for the review now. And the customer will get an email to leave the review. So once you move them into completed, this is where that shows up for you. Edit, ask for the review now. There's that. All right. So that's how you get the Google verified reviews. Renessa asked, should I turn on the settings to allow customers to contact? Oh, we kind of covered that. Yeah. So make every opportunity that you have to communicate with a customer. Some people like messaging. Some people like, will pick up the phone. More people will pick up the phone than message, but it's another opportunity, right? Sounds like you have to ask, yep, there, Google verified reviews. Cool. If there's any other questions, if you're interested in having us help you with your digital marketing services, with getting anything set up, call us directly, 855-799-1252. Go to roofermarketers.com/apply. This is an ongoing webinar series, so we have these every month. Like I said, we've been doing this for 2.5 years now. It's awesome. Really happy to be able to help you guys out on an ongoing basis. If you haven't already, please check out the Roofing Success Podcast. Go to your favorite podcast network. Go to YouTube to watch the video version of it. It's where I interview successful roofing contractors on how they found success in their business, the things that they've done right, the lessons that they've learned, all of those types of things. If anyone has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. We're pushing up on that hour, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but be happy to answer things for you if it'd be helpful. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, check out the Roofing Success Podcast, check out our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, do all of that type of stuff. We'll see you next month if you jump on the webinar. Anyone coming to RoofCon, please stop by our booth, say hello, and love to meet everyone in person. Everyone have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.